As a result of the return of wolf populations in the western United States, which is partially attributable to conservation measures, the livestock business has been subjected to economic effects that were not anticipated. It is claimed that wolves have caused a loss of $100 million annually due to their attacks on cattle. Farmers in the United States have implemented a wide range of preventative measures in order to safeguard their cattle in reaction to the growing dangerous situation. In response to the diminishing availability of natural prey, wolves are increasingly turning their attention to hunting cattle, which results in huge financial losses for farmers. The United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, reports that the harm that wolves bring to livestock costs American farmers millions of dollars every year. The overall worth of cattle that was lost to predators in 2019 was projected to be $98.50 million, with wolves being responsible for a large amount of this loss. Farmers and hunters employ a wide range of techniques, most of which include the use of traps and weapons, in order to reduce the negative impact that wolves have on livestock. The purpose of these procedures is to limit the number of instances of predation and to regulate the populations of wolves. It is time for the hunter to get ready for his hunt. It is possible for them to identify locations that are frequented by wolves by tracking and recording any footprints that they find. There is a possibility that it will be successful in capturing lone wolves or small groups. That a wolf has been caught in a trap is something that can be observed. A gun was pulled out by the hunter, and he loaded the ammunition into it. At that moment, he began aiming his firearm at the wolf. Also, as you are aware, the wolf was put to death. Please take a look at the man who is rubbing the wolf's paws and fur. This is a very large wolf. There will be restricted hunting seasons established in states that have removed wolves from the list of endangered species, according to the Endangered Species Act. The purpose of these hunts is to limit the amount of wolf predation on livestock and to regulate the population of wolves. Wolf carcasses are frequently collected by hunters several days after the animals have been slain or caught. When wolf carcasses are left in trap locations for an extended period of time, this can have significant repercussions for the surrounding ecology. The utilization of traps and firearms for the purpose of controlling wolf populations is a contentious issue that generates a multitude of ethical and environmental concerns. Some people believe that both shooting and trapping might result in unnecessary suffering. When wolves are captured in traps, they can experience severe pain and suffering. On the other hand, their suffering can be prolonged if they are shot, particularly if the shooting is not done effectively. In addition, there are many who are concerned that the hunting of wolves for the purpose of collecting fur and selling it for commercial purposes is detrimental to both the natural environment and the populations of wolves. Methods that are safer and more humane are advocated for by opposition groups. For the purpose of protecting cattle against wolf predation, fences can be utilized as an alternative, hence minimizing the requirement for fatal bullets. Beyond direct hunting and trapping, another important dimension of wolf management lies in government-led compensation programs. In many states, ranchers who lose cattle to wolf attacks may receive financial reimbursement. While these programs help ease the economic burden, critics argue that they do not address the root problem of coexistence and can be difficult to administer fairly. Nevertheless, they represent an attempt to balance the needs of farmers with broader conservation goals. Moreover, innovative non-lethal deterrents are increasingly being tested in wolf-prone areas. Ranchers are experimenting with guard dogs, motion sensor lights, and even fladry, a traditional method where colorful flags are hung along fences to dissuade wolves from approaching. Although not foolproof, these strategies demonstrate that there are creative ways to minimize conflict without resorting to lethal control. In addition, the return of wolves has sparked debates over land use and ecological priorities. Supporters of wolf conservation argue that their presence strengthens ecosystems by keeping deer and elk populations in check, which in turn prevents overgrazing of vegetation. Healthy forests and grasslands, they claim, benefit everyone, including ranchers, by maintaining soil fertility and reducing erosion. At the same time, cultural perceptions of wolves continue to play a major role in shaping policies. In some communities, wolves are still seen as dangerous predators that threaten livelihoods. while in others, they are celebrated as iconic symbols of wilderness. These contrasting viewpoints often lead to heated disputes at both local and national levels, influencing laws and wildlife management strategies. Equally significant is the role of science in monitoring wolf populations. Biologists rely on GPS collars, drones, and camera traps to track wolf packs, study their movements, and predict their hunting behaviors. This data not only helps policymakers design better management plans, but also gives ranchers early warnings when wolves are in the vicinity. Furthermore, the debate over wolves extends far beyond the United States. In countries like Canada and across Europe, similar tensions exist between livestock owners and conservationists. By comparing different approaches globally, ranging from compensation systems in Scandinavia to rewilding projects in Eastern Europe, experts are exploring ways to learn from each other's successes and mistakes. Ultimately, the question remains: how can humans and wolves coexist in a shared landscape? Striking a balance between protecting rural livelihoods and preserving an apex predator is a challenge that will continue to evolve. What is clear, however, is that the story of wolves in America is not just about conflict. It is also about resilience, adaptation, and the search for solutions that respect both nature and human needs. From my perspective, the debate surrounding wolves in the western United States is not simply about livestock losses or wildlife management. It is about how societies define coexistence with nature in an era of ecological crisis. While it is undeniable that wolves cause economic strain on ranchers, I believe framing the problem solely as a battle between predators and cattle oversimplifies the deeper issues at play. Wolves are apex predators that play a critical ecological role. Their removal or aggressive culling often destabilizes ecosystems in ways that are more costly in the long run. At the same time, dismissing the financial and emotional burden on ranchers risks alienating rural communities and undermining conservation goals. In my opinion, the real solution lies in shifting away from reactionary lethal methods towards systemic strategies that integrate ecology, technology, and economic fairness. Non-lethal deterrents such as flattery, guard animals, or advanced sensor-based systems should not be treated as experimental stopgaps, but as central tools in a broader coexistence framework. Investment in innovation such as drones for monitoring wolf activity or AI-powered early warning systems could reduce predation while also improving herd management. Furthermore, I think compensation programs should evolve into proactive insurance-style models, where ranchers are not just reimbursed after losses, but supported in adopting preventive measures. Equally important is reshaping cultural attitudes. Wolves should not be cast merely as threats or romanticized icons. They are part of a living landscape that humans share. Education programs, ecotourism initiatives, and transparent dialogue between ranchers, conservationists, and policymakers could transform wolves from symbols of division into catalysts for collaboration. Looking abroad, I believe the U.S. could learn from Scandinavian models of coexistence, where compensation is tied to preventive action, or from European rewilding projects that integrate local communities into conservation benefits. Ultimately, I see the wolf question as a test of whether humanity is capable of building systems that honor both livelihoods and biodiversity. It will require compromise, creativity, and long-term vision. Killing wolves may offer short-term relief, but only coexistence rooted in respect and innovation can ensure resilience for both ranching communities and ecosystems. In my view, this is not simply about wolves or cattle. It is about redefining how humans inhabit and manage shared landscapes in a sustainable future.